think. Hello, everyone. If you can hear me loud and clear, I want you to put in the chat for me. I can hear you. I was just giving some of us time to join in. Is my voice loud and clear? I want to see in the chat. Hello, everyone. Thank you. Hello, everyone. So uh, let me stop sharing for a moment. Absolutely. Thank you, Tosan. Good evening, everybody. My name is Patience Carew. I'm super excited to be here. We're just giving a few more minutes for a couple of more people to join in. I know a lot of people signed up for this. So it is my hope, my intention that they will join in good time. While we're waiting, I want you all to know that this webinar is being live streamed on YouTube. You can share the YouTube link to your friends, family to join, or you can ask them to catch the replay on YouTube as well. And our YouTube handle is Enlightened Money Mindset, or just simply type P Carew. And that's P-E-E-C-A-R-E-W. Thank you so much for joining. You're welcome to the Enlightened Money Mindset here. And today we'll be talking on identifying and overcoming limiting patterns to achieve financial success. But before I go on, I want to know how your day has been. I'm going to be in the chat. I've got my screen here. I've got my other device here where I can see the chat live. So I can, interact and you guys can feel me as well as I connect with you, okay? So yes, I want you to say or put in the chat for me how your day has been. How has your day been? Today is the second to the last day of February. February has gone so fast. It's unimaginable. Just a few weeks ago, we had the January edition of our Mind Over Money series. My team and I, we it's so exciting. It's funny how we came up with this concept of saying, okay, we're going to be impacting, we're going to be teaching, and we're going to be sensitizing, creating awareness as to what money mindset is about. And then we thought, okay, why not create a series where people can come in and listen to us and start to connect with us on a much deeper level as it pertains to the relationship with money. And that's how we birth that's how Mind Over Money series was birthed. Okay, so we've had the January. How many of you were in the January? I want to see in the chat how your day has been. We're not moving until I hear. How many of you attended the January edition where we had Mastering Your Money Mindset for a Prosperous Year? How many of you attended? Did you attend? Let me see who's with us here. Michelle is here, Tosan is here, Olamide is here, Joseph Longe, Moyo is here, PECS is here. How many of you attended? The last I did, absolutely. Thank you. So, oh, you didn't. You can catch the replay on YouTube, Joseph. It is there. You can catch it, right? And don't forget to like and subscribe and share our page on YouTube, right? Elizabeth, if you didn't, just catch the replay, okay? And let us drop a comment for me, DM me. Elizabeth, you're welcome. You didn't finish, don't worry, you can always go back, right? So how has your day been? How has your day been? I want, okay, if you're not saying how your day has been, use an emoji to describe your day. And also tell me where you're joining from. Where are you joining from? Are you joining from Lagos, in your bedroom, your car, commuting from work? Canada, London, Nigeria, wherever, where are you joining from? I know someone is joining from Port Harcourt. Thank you, PECS. PECS is at work. Oh God, I hope you've had a beautiful day today. Not so stressful, right? How has your day been and where are you joining from? I want to know where you're joining from and also tell me what you do so I can understand the audience that we're speaking to. Joseph is joining from Abuja, absolutely. Michelle is from Port Harcourt, I believe. Absolutely. Thank you. So what do you do? Let me know, my audience. Who am I speaking with? What do you do? You know, what keeps you awake during the day? What is it, a 9 to 5? Is it a business? Are you in a service-oriented business? Are you a creative where you give services based on the job that you do from your passion and all of that? What do you do? What do you do? While we're waiting for a few more. So we have a politician in our midst here. Very good. Oh, I think I've been cut off, right? I didn't even realize that. Aspiring. Oh, I hope my voice didn't go so low anyway. So just realized that I've been cut off the mic. Yeah, absolutely. So what do you do? What do you do? I want you to put in the chat for me what you do. Um, an astronaut. Fantastic. Can you unmute yourself and tell us what you do? That's very interesting. I don't think I've ever met anyone that is an astronaut. Can you tell me what you do as an astronaut? Ah, right. There are other people here. Transitioning to data science. Most of my day is spent studying Python and reading. Fantastic. Tech is the future. Tech is the future. Well done, well done. Who else? Who else? What do you do? Tosan is here. Michelle is here. Olamide is here. My tech team, they're here. What do you all do? Ibuku is here. Elizabeth is here. What do you do? I want to speak to business owners today. I want to speak to employees, professionals, people that have 9 to 5. Those are the people that I want to speak to today. I want to speak to homemakers, civil servants. I want to know the audience. I want to know. And if you are just joining, please introduce yourself and put what you do in the chat. So let's go right on. And I believe that the rest of the team will join us. But just before we go, how did any of you hear about the class today? I'm a VA, fantastic. How many of you, how did you hear? Was it through emails? Was it through the ads? Was it through referrals? How did you hear about this webinar? How did you hear about the webinar that we're having today? Very critical that we get this information. It helps us serve you better. So when we're holding the next Mind Over Money series in the next month or two, we're able to customize it in a way that improves our service and helps you in a way that transforms your relationship with money and other areas of your life. So it's not that we're doing things the way we've done it before. We also want to improve, and that's why we're trying to gather as much information as we can. Okay, so yes. How did you hear about today's webinar? 2 people in the chat, and then we'll move. How did you hear about today's webinar? And while you're 2 people are chatting, I want to know what your expectations are today. Many of you have heard about beliefs through word of mouth. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Joseph. Who else? So one more person. How did you hear about today's webinar? How did you hear about it? And then I want you to tell me what your expectations are. What do you struggle with the most? Today, we're going to be talking on your unconscious beliefs that drives you, because beliefs drive behaviors, right? So I want to know what your expectations are. I want to know what you struggle with. 2 people in the chat, and then we'll move. We will move. What are your expectations? What do you struggle with? Put in the chat for me. What are your expectations? I want to see in the chat, what are your expectations? 2 people in the chat, and then we will move. So I'm super excited to have you all here. And I do believe that those of you that are just coming into contact with me or my work, what I do with money coaching, very interesting, very interesting. My name is Patience Carew once again. I'm a money mindset coach, a financial fulfillment expert, and I've spent the past 16 years plus helping individuals, entrepreneurs, small businesses, professionals, employees transform their financial lives, right? Through increased awareness, intentionality towards not just their financial lives, but other critical areas of their lives. Thank you, Joseph. Struggling with saying no when I have money. Fantastic. Thank you for sharing, Joseph. Thank you. So over the years, right, having worked with diverse group of people from the work that I do in my day life, I've come to accept that a lot of the challenges that people experience around their financial lives is rooted in their behavior and their emotional patterns. Okay, so many of you think that the struggle that you're experiencing with your finances, money, your personal life, your personal finance is just your inability to budget. It's your inability to deal with all things money. But beyond that, my role, my mission, my objective is to raise your consciousness to understanding that the why behind the decisions that you make is very critical. It's my intention to bring your awareness to your emotions, to your patterns, to your beliefs, to the language that you use around your finances, around money, and also to the energy that you bring. Because what's happening is we're looking for solutions to a lot of money challenges and habits just by using only practical solutions. And these practical solutions are you thinking about just budgeting, thinking about, it's because I don't understand what investments are. I'm not good with numbers and all those things. And so you stay stuck in that thinking, in that level of thinking, in the hope that it will solve what is fundamentally a behavioral issue. So adjust your behavior, recognize the patterns that are sabotaging you, and then you can course correct them and then start to make better decisions, right? So this is where understanding your own relationship with money, your money dynamics comes into play. I remember my early days in business when, I was much younger at the time. I had this pervasive fear of failing, of losing it all, and it's not something that I will come out to say very quite confidently because I'm an accountant, right? So you would imagine that I should be very comfortable with numbers, figures, and all that, right? But it wasn't until I got on that journey of my own personal development when I started this whole mindset thing, coaching, therapy, relearning. And that's when I started to find release. I started to, understand what beliefs are, understand what patterns are, understand that there's a mindset to money as well. And it's the mindset that is actually limiting and sabotaging the things that I do around or the decisions I make, even not just with my finances, but my business as well. So the inertia, the slow decision making, the energy drain, all those things are all rooted in your emotional, in your behavioral relationship with money. You don't know it, but that's why, I sit here as the money coach to bring your attention, bring your awareness to all this. So yes, the purpose of this webinar today is to shine the light on salient internal barriers that might be preventing you from reaching your financial goals, right? So whether you are a salary earner, a business owner, a manager, you're looking to start your business, you're looking to advance in your career, you're trying to break free from limiting beliefs, whatever, this is the significant step. This is the first step. And the insights that you will gain as we go along, as we talk, or as you follow a majority of my programs, the insights you will gain will help you. Okay. And my goal is for you to leave all my sessions, not this session only, all my sessions feeling even more empowered, feeling equipped to make tangible changes in your financial life. Because every aha moment, every awareness can only lead to positive change for you. So I encourage you to be open, to take notes, to most importantly, be present. Because if you're not present, then you wouldn't be open to listening to the things that are unsaid, or the things that you wouldn't be able to glean from other people's experiences, right? And we learn from other people's experiences. The session today would last for about 90 minutes, a few housekeeping rules, and we're good to go. This is a safe space for everyone. I encourage you to bring out your notepad, take notes, note down things that may stand out for you. Because if you've attended any of my programs, as with this one, I want you to think about it this way. Every time you attend my programs, every time you listen to me, see it as a start of a transformation in your financial story, regardless of whatever area I'm speaking to, because the power to change your destiny, your financial destiny is yours, regardless of whatever condition that you are at or whatever condition you are experiencing, regardless of whatever your reality is. There's nothing that is permanent. Today's limitation can be tomorrow's possibilities. We hear that all the time. So we're meant to utilize every learnings from our experiences, right? So there will be moments where some people will share, and I encourage every one of us to support ourselves and then, share from our own experiences. So yes, we will talk on very interesting, understanding your self-limiting patterns, identifying your own self-limiting beliefs, and then, move on to strategies to help you overcome these patterns. So yes, who is with me and who is ready to roll with me? I want to say in the chat, who is with me, who is listening to me? Michelle, did everyone get the link? How did you join? I hope that everyone got the link, the Zoom link anyways. Yeah, so who is with me? I want to say in the chat, who is with me? Who is with me? We're ready. Absolutely, Tosan. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I appreciate every one of you for being here today. It just shows me that there are still people that are very intentional and dedicated to their own financial growth, to their own personal growth and financial empowerment, right? So very quickly, let me share my slides. I'm just asking. I am set. Thank you. Who is set? Let me see who. Joseph says I am set. Absolutely. Where is share? Okay. Mhm. Right. Today I'm going to just briefly show slides and then move on from the slides. So yes, what are beliefs? What are beliefs? We know we've heard beliefs, we've heard everything that we need to hear about beliefs, but today I want to share it in a different light. I want to show you how your beliefs impact your lives, impact the decisions that you make, right? Beliefs are assumptions, they are convictions that you, I, anyone else holds. Beliefs are stories that we tell ourselves over and over again. And these stories are what we have come to accept as our truth. So, what is my truth is different from your truth, right? The beliefs that we have, it plays a big role in how we perceive the world, and it shapes our realities. So many of us have heard stories, many of us have heard narratives that have been passed on to us, and we don't know how it is showing up or how it's impacting our current realities. So we've been programmed to think that those things that we've heard are true. I know that many of you have heard some things, or families where they've passed on information like, don't talk to this, don't relate with this, don't do this, or we don't do this in our family. And then the great grandfather passes it on to the grandfather passes it on to the father passes it on to the son. So those are how stories are passed, and those stories are beliefs. And the thing is, beliefs can be true, it can be false, it can be empowering, it can be negative. And I'll speak to that as we move along. But what is critical for you to know is there are limiting beliefs. And the majority of how we function is from a place of unconsciousness where those limiting beliefs thrive. So what is limiting beliefs? Let me stop sharing so that you can see me clearly. So what is limiting beliefs? And I want you to put in the chat for me as we move along. A limiting belief, like I said, is a belief, is a conviction. It is something that you believe to be true. It is something that limits you in a variety of ways. It keeps you stuck on a negative aspect of your life. It keeps you stuck on a circumstance. It keeps you stuck to a mindset. It keeps you stuck in a box. That is a limiting belief. And it can come from anywhere. It can come from your work. It can come from your religion, church, mosque, whatever you believe in. It can come from your environment where you were raised. It can come from your family dynamics, right? So, but what neuroscience says is most of the beliefs that we have, and I'm going to be making references to neuroscience, from time to time, right? What it says is most of the beliefs that we have are formed from our childhood. And they're also formed from the things that we've heard repetitively over time. You want a child to believe something, you want a child to pattern, you want a child to behave in a certain way, you've got to keep saying it. And that's how the codes are being imprinted into the subconscious of the child. It has been encoded into their brains, right? And this happens over time. Many other people have beliefs that have been formed from significant life experiences. So a situation happens in your life, and then what happens? You give a narrative to that situation. For instance, maybe you experience loss. Maybe you watched your parents lose the only car they had, or maybe you watched your parents go through a divorce and your life changed, or you saw a death of a loved one, you experienced something. Anything that is a very significant emotional experience in your life has the ability, the ability to impact you and impact the way that you see the world. And that's why I say that the beliefs that you hold on to, they drive the behaviors that you have, and reinforcing those beliefs makes it even stronger for you. So just one negative belief, everything you are doing is spiraling and you don't even know it. And it's the same thing with money. It's the same thing with money. So the same way you have these narratives around other areas of your life is the same way that you have it around your financial life. And I know that we've been conditioned to isolate our financial lives from our normal life. So we see our financial life as something far outside of our lives, as something we go out and get, not something that is also a critical area of our life. So we focus on our career, our jobs, our businesses, right? We focus on our marriages, our family, our social life, our health and well-being. And then because we don't want to be seen as being too ambitious or being too money conscious or being too godly or worldly or materialistic. And now that's okay. But what I want to point out here is how these beliefs are showing up for you, right? Because your financial behaviors, when you hold on to those beliefs, your financial behaviors determines the financial results that you have. So if you are unconscious about those behaviors, then you're going to be unconsciously manifesting the things that you don't want. Manifesting wrong business decisions, manifesting losing money, manifesting wrong investment decisions, manifesting energy drain, demotivation, lack, overwhelm, financial anxiety. You'll be experiencing all of those. But what is good to note is that you can start to notice, you can start to learn. And this is why we're here, so that we can become aware. We can learn, we can unlearn, and begin to relearn what we need to know about money management in order for us to gain that clarity, that control, and that confidence that we really need. How does this sound? I want you to put in the chat for me how this sounds to you. I mean, I've spoken just very briefly for about 10 minutes. I want to know how it sounds to you. I'm in the chat today. So I want to know, how does this sound to you? Because if our mindset on money, right, is hard to make, if our mindset on money is that money is hard to make, or that what else do we usually say? Or that I'm not good with money. We don't know it, but on a subconscious level, we sabotage, we self-sabotage. How do you self-sabotage? You start to do procrastination. You start to you start to resist opportunities. You avoid opportunities, right? Stephen Pressfield, in his book, he calls it resistance, right? So people then start to think you are lazy, and they misconstrue the procrastination that you are having as laziness. Meanwhile, it's a depression response for you. It's a response to you not wanting to do what you are meant to do, right? So very critical. I want you to put in the chat for me if all I'm saying is starting to come together for you, because I'm about to go into something very critical here. And I want you to listen very carefully. I want to speak on the duality of life and money. The reason is the beliefs that we hold on to can be true, it can be false, it can be resourceful, it can be limiting or negative, right? So it's now you gaining awareness, you becoming conscious, that then now you begin to gain, okay, say, okay, this is good for me, this is not good for me, this is serving me, this is not serving me. So what does duality really talk about? Duality of money and life is telling you, or telling all of us, that every aspect of our lives must be looked at, must be considered from a balanced perspective of opposite and complementary. What that means in summary is that the same way you have day, you have night. The same way you have white, you have black. You have good, you have bad. And that's the same thing with money. Because with duality, right, you understand that you must recognize that there's an opposite to everything. It's universal. It's universal. If you don't start to recognize that, there's some of you may continue to experience resistance, continue to experience tightness around your relationship with money. It would seem like it keeps slipping through your fingers every time. You wouldn't be able to place or actually identify the struggle that you might be experiencing. And that's why I'm trying to say that understanding that duality is about opposites and complementary helps you recognize that you can have a positive and a negative relationship with money. And that's what the duality of life and money is about. It's about you recognizing that money in and of itself is very powerful, because we've given it so much power, right? So it can play both negative and positive roles in our lives. And what it does is it just only brings out the complex nature of money and how it impacts us. We as individuals, we as humans, the powers that we have given to money. So with money now, you then know that there's a good side and then there's a bad side to money. We think that we know, but we are not conscious half the time. And I will speak to that. But for you to start to investigate or start to ask yourself questions as to your own relationship with money, as to the dual relationship that you have with money and also your life, you must ask yourself critical questions. You must start to think along the lines of, who am I? How do I think? What beliefs do I hold on to? Matter of fact, if you must talk about beliefs, you must go back to your values. So what values do you uphold? There are ways that you can generate, you can discern what your values are. Okay? So how confident are you? How do you relate? What is your ability? What is your skills, passion, strengths? All those questions are questions that you've got to ask yourself, because we live in a life or in a realm of cause and effect. So if we must change the outcome of the things that we're getting, if we must, what's the word, influence the manifestations of our money habits, then we must begin to pay attention to the root cause. Because like I would always say, it is the why behind your actions that is very critical. You know, while I was preparing for this, I saw an analogy that talked about how, you know, many of us when we approach challenges, we approach lives, it's like looking at the tree and the fruit. So we consider the fruit. You know, the fruit is now, metaphorically speaking, the fruit is the outcome, the effort, the result that we're looking for. The journey is the planting, the watering, the seed, and the harvest time, right? So what happens is, in the journey, along the journey, or let's even go to the fruit. What if you don't like the fruit? You don't like the result, the outcome? Perhaps the business or the idea that you have didn't work, or the plans or the projections that you made was not viable, wasn't profitable, and you lost time, lost trust, lost network access to funds and all of that. As humans, our frail tendencies is for us to focus on the outcome. So we dwell on the outcome. We spend so much time and attention focusing on the fruit and ignore the root, which is the underground reason why we're getting the outcome that we're getting. So if you want to change something, if you want to tackle the beliefs that you're holding on to, you've got to start from the root cause of those beliefs. Why? Because you cannot just focus on only the physical existence. We operate in different realms. And with money, we also have different relationships. I always say this because it's very critical for me to sensitize every one of you that we have multiple relationships with our money. Many of you are only familiar with the technicalities of finance, with the technicalities of money. And so the relationship that you have with your money is only in the practical aspect. Oh, how to budget, how to save, how to earn, how to invest, and that's it. But beyond that, you have your emotional relationship. You have a spiritual relationship with money. You have a mental relationship with money. And so we cannot change things only in the physical realm. And that's where I draw on increasing your consciousness. That's where I come in as your money coach to bring your awareness to the emotional, to the behavioral, to the psychological dynamics around your relationship with money. Because money is innocent. Money in and of itself is just the result, it's the outcome. Just like how good health and well-being, longevity is an outcome, right? So it's the actions that you take, like delayed gratification, like practicing what they call the inner laws to wealth, where you are persistent, you're diligent, you're dedicated, you are resilient, you're doing delayed gratification, you're tracking, you're patient. All those critical qualities are the things that move you closer to the financial future that you want, right? So now we've talked about beliefs, we've talked about limiting beliefs. And I also said that your beliefs can be true, it can be false, it can be positive, it can be negative. But regardless of whatever it is, what you must take from here is beliefs are subjective. And so those beliefs are opinions. What we want to now identify with this webinar that we are at right now is to now ascertain if those beliefs are truly ours or they've been passed on to us, and if they're serving us or moving us any closer to our desired outcome or desired goals. Because you want to be mindful that the beliefs that the opinions that you're holding on to haven't just been what has been passed consistently from one generation or from one parent to the other or from one job or from one, you know that, right? So I want us to now take a moment to reflect on the questions that I'm going to be sharing here. Not so much so that you can answer them, but for you to start to question, you know, the origination of the opinions, of the narratives, of the scripts that we all know as beliefs that we're holding on to. At the start of this webinar, I said that the beliefs that we have, according to neuroscience, is formed from our childhood dynamics. One of the ways that patterns are transferred is also from our childhood dynamics, right? From our family upbringing. Very critical, because those are our formative years where we don't have the capacity to really discern information that are being passed, right? Good. So now I want to ask any of you listening here, what did you see? Actually, the way beyond the family, right? Actually, let me rephrase this. The beliefs that you hold on to, there are different ways that you can sponge, you sponge information, not just as a child, as a young adult, even from your workplace. And like I said at the start, through spaced repetition, right? Now, one of the ways is through what you see. So I want you to pay attention and start to reflect. What were your caregivers like with money growing up? What were your caregivers? Whoever your caregivers were, it could have been your parents, could have been your uncles. Did any of them manage money well? I know, I've had clients, I've had situations, sessions where I've heard different stories about how money management was held. I've had stories where, and these are sessions where people share their realities. I've had sessions where I've heard, clients or people share that they had to literally work in their parents' businesses before going to school every morning to generate money. I've had situations where they've had to take responsibility for the money in their home in their early teenage years because their parents didn't have the capacity to manage money. I've also experienced situations where some parents or some homes, their parents didn't provide for them, even though they had so much money. The parents found more joy and acceptance and validation giving money out, impacting other people than sharing the money at home. And so the child was living in two realities where they weren't sure if their dad or their mom really had enough money or they were just plain poor. You don't realize this, but these are the things that impacts your relationship with money as you start to adult. Okay, as you're growing, as you're getting settled in your adult stage, you are either reacting or you are conscious of what you're doing. So were your parents spenders? Were they savers? Were they investors? Were they business managers? Were they conservative? Some people had were raised in families where there was always parties everywhere. Life was just too much fun. And so they're trying to relieve those experiences now, and the economy is not allowing it, right? So was it one of joy or stress? And I don't want you to take these questions very lightly, because there's a saying that the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree. We all tend to be identical to one or a combination of either of our parents when it comes to money. Absolutely. Some of you might be unconsciously relieving your parents' income pattern, spending pattern, earning pattern. Yes. I remember coaching one client. She's a top level HR professional. And one of the things she shared was the incomes, how her father used to earn in income cycles. And so he would lose money by giving money away. And now she, as an adult, single, matured adult, was also earning the same way. Some months she would earn 5 million, 10 million, but she will find herself giving it out as loans to other people. Her subconscious programming wanted her to live just okay and nothing more. It was sabotaging her decisions to live financially, to live with financial confidence. What was happening to her was she was reliving the way that she saw, or the way that her inner child was comfortable with money. She couldn't trust her ability to own and manage and make better decisions with those monies. And so when the monies come, she needed to give it away. She needed to lose it. What I want you to know, what is important for you to recognize is how you as you are, how you relate with either or both of your parents when it comes to money. I want you to pay attention to that. And I want you to take a moment to also write down all the statements that you saw, the things that you heard. Take a moment to write them down. Okay, I'm going to give you a moment. Write down how you believe that these statements may have affected your financial lives. Yes, so that you can start to see what has been passed down to you, whether it is truly yours to bear or whether it was handed over to you. And then the decision to now course correct it, the decision to cut yourself loose, separate yourself from it, then becomes yours. So the second way that beliefs could be impacted or passed down to you is through what you heard. What did you hear about money growing up? What did you hear about wealth? Many people heard that rich people are greedy, rich people are self-serving, rich people are selfish, rich people are slave drivers, rich people are, we heard a lot of all those things. You can put in the chat for me the things that you heard. Let me see if there's any. Oh, I'll come back to this. Thank you so much, Michelle. I'll come back to this, right? So many people heard different things. What did you hear? Did you hear that money can't buy happiness? Did you hear that all the rich does is get richer and the poor gets poorer? What did you hear? Because very critical to note, all these statements that you hear about money or that you may have heard about money growing up, they stay in your subconscious mind and they run your life very subliminally. And as I would say, until you intercept it, until you interrupt it, it will stay as a pattern. Because your subconscious mind cannot choose. It would only choose emotions. It cannot reason. Its job is to protect you. Don't get it twisted. Your subconscious mind is not supposed to lead you to success. It's meant to protect you. It's meant to keep you safe. Yes. So the things that you heard keeps you safe, and that is how you have been programmed. And that's one of the things that neuroscience is also saying, and this is based on research, modern research, right? It says that we are controlled by our subconscious mind. And our subconscious mind occupies 95% of our thoughts. So which means that we can only make logical decisions. We can only be present. We can only be reasonable about 5% of the time. So that means when you are not thinking straight, when you are not making logical decisions, you are reverting to your robotic mind, your programmed mind. So you can now imagine your subconscious mind running your thoughts, and those thoughts now determining the decisions that you take, and those decisions now moving you to take actions, and then imagine the results, the outcomes that you get. You start to imagine it. If you are thinking and operating from a limiting state, from a limiting thought, from a negative state, from a negative and disempowering state or position, you can imagine the kinds of decisions that you'll be making. Very important that you know how your mind operates, because you're either thinking positively or you're thinking negatively. But if you are not aware, if you don't do these things I'm asking you to do, how would you know? So you must also write down how you may be identical to either of your parents. You must write down how the things that you heard, how they're impacting your financial life. The next one is your experience. Remember, I said that significant life experiences also impacts the beliefs that you have. So what experiences have you had? What did you experience as a child? What did you pick up from your environment, from your religious institution, from your culture? What experiences did you hold on to? And I will share more on this as we move along. I want you to take a moment to also sit back, right? And consider, just one emotional incident that you may have experienced when you were younger. Write it down. There's a connection between your handwriting and your brain. There's an emotional connection, right? So writing it down or noticing it helps you see if you have a choice, if you have power, or if you are fully resourced now to correct it. So the question that I have for you now is, are you being programmed based on what you've seen, what you've heard, what you've experienced? Are you being programmed for saving money or for spending money? Have you been programmed for managing money or for running businesses? Have you been programmed for making big investment decisions, big business decisions? Have you been programmed to be an innovator, a trailblazer? Or have you been programmed to mismanage money? And I would like for someone to, unmute themselves to share. I would like for someone to unmute. Let me read very quickly what Michelle has in the chat. She says, my father was a cheerful giver. Most times he gave at the expense of his immediate family, which wasn't cool for me. My mom was a government employee who managed money through debts upon debts to see us through school and other things. We had food and other basic human needs, but lacked luxury. It was always basic for us. It affected me and my siblings, I believe. Amazing. Thank you so much, Michelle, for sharing. Who else would like to share? How are you being programmed based on what you've heard? Who would like to share? I need one person to share, and then we'll move. Who would like to share what, just say something or just put in the chat how, what you have seen, what you have heard, the experiences that you've had, how has it been and how has it shaped or influenced your relationship with money right now? So I'm going to be waiting. I'm going to give us a minute. Who would like to share, either in the chat or unmute yourself? Let me catch up with the chat. Okay. Who would like to share? Nobody wants to share. So I want someone to put in the chat for me what it was like, the modeling, the experience, childhood, how you've been programmed. I want to see one person in the chat, and then we will move, because I want to share, I want us to go over an exercise that I got from, oh yes, I would have spoken, but it's raining here, so it won't be audible. Oh, that's fine. You can put this in the chat for us. And then when you can speak, you can unmute yourself and then speak. Thank you so much. Who else? I need one more person, and then we'll move. I want you to think and then just put in the chat for me, what you saw, what you heard, and how that may be showing up for you today. Don't let me call your names. Don't let me call out your names.
Hi, I would like to share.
Oh, right. Who is speaking?
Peju is my name.
Oh, hi, Peju. Thank you so much.
Hi.
Go ahead, please.
Thank you for this privilege. So growing up, I saw that my dad lost his job. He was doing well as a paid civil servant, but he lost his job along the line. And it was when the first child of our family was entering into medical school back in Nigeria. And it was so hard. My mom had to do multiple jobs. She was a teacher originally, but she picked up different side also. She went into catering. She does events and stuff like that. She had side businesses. She had a shop. She sold all kinds of things. And I've seen my father also sell valuable things that he had just to keep up with our school fees while growing up. And as God will have it, when my elder brothers grew up, they started to work and they could support the rest of us that were younger. And fine, I saw my mom, she did a lot of work, and that kind of registered in my mind that I don't want to do jobs that will be very stressful, or I don't want multiple jobs. I want a single job or a business that can pay my bills and I can rest. Because I never saw my mom rest. She deferred a lot of things that could have given her joy or happiness as a woman. She deferred all of those luxury things so that she could meet up with responsibilities of her children. So that kind of registered in my mind. Because of that, I don't practice delayed gratification. If I feel like buying a bag, fine, I don't do more than I can afford. I don't borrow. All of those I have as boundaries. But if I feel like eating, say, Mr. Biggs or a burger, I go ahead and buy it and eat it and enjoy myself at that point in time. But I also see myself that because of that, sometimes I do a lot of impulse buying, which I'm trying to work on because I believe it just gives me this self satisfaction, basically, that I can afford anything I need at any point in time, which has been something that's been driving me. And fine, I have savings, but sometimes I find myself dipping into that savings just to meet up sometimes when I run out of cash. And also the idea of investment, I didn't really see my parents do a lot of investment. The investment they had was what they fall back onto when they ran into financial issues. So that kind of also registered in my mind. I need to do investments, but I'm not a risk taker. I don't know why. Even when applying for jobs, I take my time to read the job descriptions very well and make sure that I'm equal to that task before I apply, which I don't believe should be the right thing to do, even when I believe I can do more. But I just want to be in the comfortable space. I'm not willing to step out and be that risk taker and do more than what I'm comfortable doing at every point in time. That has been my story. Thank you for the privilege.
Profound, profound, profound. Just when you think that your own story is unique, your own situations, and then you hear other people's story. Thank you so much, Peju, for sharing. Appreciate you. Where are you joining from?
I'm joining from Atlanta in
Oh,
US.
thank you so much. I appreciate the sacrifice, the time difference, the sacrifice that you've made to join this live webinar today. And I recognize your email and I know that you registered for the upcoming masterclass. So yes, thank you so much, Pedro.
Thank
I
you.
just wanted you to know that I know I'm aware. Okay, and profound, you are in safe hands. I like what you have shared. I have registered the patterns that you have listed, and it's amazing. It just reveals that you've done so much work on yourself. The brilliance I see in you is the intentionality that you are taking towards wanting to live a much better life than you experienced in your childhood. And that is a brilliant choice, a brilliant option for you. It just shows how much intentions you are bringing to your daily life. Okay, so with a little bit more awareness and consciousness as to the patterns that you're exhibiting, you will be able to even get better with your savings and more and the financial decisions that you make. The issue that you are experiencing with delayed gratification, impulse buying, investments, avoiding taking risks, and all of that, those are patterns. Those are psychological patterns, right? And like I said, I'm sorry guys, but let me just quickly speak to Peju's reality. Like I said, right, you don't realize it, but so much of who you are is rooted in your childhood dynamics. So much. And a lot of people are living in fear that you cannot explain. The challenges that you are experiencing around money is rooted in fear. Now, there are different things that fear breeds. It breeds shame, it breeds impulsivity, it breeds avoidance. Now, she mentioned that, she does impulse buying. Do you know what that does? There's something inside of her that wants to keep having, wants to keep feeling. wants to keep getting. And so you are not thinking logically at the time that deprivation comes in. Someone put in the chat, I saw something about deprivation. This is a manifestation that is rooted in something, in a lack from childhood. A deprivation is a sense of insufficiency. It's a sense of lack of something that was taken or not provided during your childhood or your formative years. So when you find yourself indulging, when you find yourself doing things that you ought to have done or you ought to have dealt with, or things that other people say that, are you not an adult? What is happening is you're trying to nurture, you're trying to nurse your inner child. You're trying to fill up that sense of deprivation that has not been fed. So Peju, I'm excited. I'm excited that you are registered for the Know Your Money Archetype. Are you not? Peju, are you not registered? I know you are registered. I just want to hear you confirm.
Yes, I am.
Affirmative.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, so you're going to see how these patterns are and what you can do to put them in check. Okay, I'm going to expose you to a quiz that will reveal to you what is prevalent for you, and then show you significant steps that you can take to course correct them. So these patterns, they're not going to go away. I don't know how old you are, but they're not going to go away in a minute. But then what we want to get here, where we want to get to here, is being present. Because what is happening is we're hovering around the past. We're not letting go of our past experiences. So if we're not dwelling in the past, we are moving to the future. And because we're not present, we're not in the here and now. Even when we come to the here and now, we're already drained. So we can't even take actions. That's why you hear when they say set goals, you set the goals, and in 30 days or 60 days, you can't continue anymore because you're already drained. You don't believe in your capacity. All of these things are reactions, they are responses to the things that are missing. And this is where money coaching comes in for you. It's to sensitize you. It's to let you see that these patterns are not yours to bear. These patterns can be self-corrected. They can be intercepted with awareness. You can start to make better money decisions, and which leads me to the next critical point I want to topic I want to touch on. Okay, but before I do that, let me see what is in the chat, what somebody else has said in the chat. So this one says, so because my mom was always struggling financially, I had to manage to the extent of self-deprivation. Okay. Till today, I find it very difficult to get things for myself because in secondary school, I had to manage without pocket money sometimes because I didn't want my mom to worry about me. On the flip side of things, I can be 100% fine even without money in my pocket because of those experiences. So do you see how these experiences shape our current realities? I talked about this. I said that what is manifesting today is rooted in what you have seen, what you have heard, what you have experienced. And I'm super proud that, some of you are starting to get that awareness. So the next thing is, what do you do with that awareness? You have to, because the thing is, if you don't identify the things that are going on in your life, how do you correct them? How do you correct them, right? Let me quickly touch on neuroplasticity, because very, very important. You think you are stuck. You think, Michelle, I hope you're letting people in. You think you are stuck. You think that you're not good with money. You think that you can't save money. You think that there's something always missing in your life. No, those limiting beliefs, those limiting patterns that you don't even know whether they're limiting. First and foremost, are you aware if they're limiting or not? So let me change, let me reverse and not say limiting. Let me say those self-talk, negative self-talk, those fixed mindset. I'm sure every one of you here may have heard, speakers talk on fixed mindset and growth mindset and all of that, right? So those fixed mindset and the fear The pervasive fear that you have is rooted in those patterns, those beliefs, those behaviors, the emotions, the energy that you have with money. So when you find yourself thinking, I cannot save money, I am not good with numbers, that is you constantly thinking. That is you constantly saying negative things about yourself. When you find yourself saying investment is too much, investment is too advanced for me, it's not people like me that can do investment is for very intelligent people or rich people, that is you being stuck in a fixed mindset, because you are inevitably saying that you cannot learn, you cannot position yourself, you're not believing in your own capacity, your own inner or innate capacity to learn new things. Or you tell yourself, I will never be able to have something, I will not be at that level, I cannot be at that level. That is negative talk. You are trying to start a new business, right? And you're finding that you may not succeed because there's a popular saying that businesses don't thrive beyond the first to the third year, right? So you think you're not smart enough to start a business because business is not for you. That is fear. That is fear. You are either facing the fear or you are staying stuck in the fear. Because avoiding challenges is you fearing your ability to succeed or thrive. But all of this, right, can be changed. The narratives can be rewritten. And this is where, according to neuroscience, the concept of neuroplasticity comes in. Let me share the slide for that so that you can see. One second, where's the neuroplasticity? Yeah. So that's where the concept of neuroplasticity comes in, right? It talks about the brain's ability to rewire itself. It says it's not about so it doesn't mean that your brain is a plastic. It just means that the brain has the capacity to grow new cells. So which means that the brain is like a software update that can refine, that can be improved over time. So you can form new neural connections, new neural pathways for things that you want to learn. So whatever experiences, whatever beliefs, whatever narratives that you've held on to, your brain has the capacity to recreate a new experience for you. So what neuroscience is saying that gone are those days, gone are those beliefs that as you get older, your brain power diminishes, your brain's ability to do things or to learn new things. Absolutely. Modern science is saying that's not true. We can acquire new skills. We can learn new skills. We can learn new things. We can learn music. It's now left for us to take actions. It's now left for us to be resilient, to be persistent, to put in the effort and the time to learn these things. Science is telling us now that if you want to handle dementia, you want to handle Alzheimer's and all that, you have to keep working on your brain power. You have to keep reading, or you have to go and get a hobby, or you have to do puzzles, all those mental things to, keep your brain functioning. So whatever it is that has been imprinted in our brain, in our minds, right? Our mind, our body, our soul, on a subconscious level, on a subliminal level, we have the capacity to course correct it, to rewrite it. So our brains can grow. And that is where that fixed mindset, that being stuck, that negative talk, that is where all that now changes to growth. Yes, that is where we now start finding motivation from within to chase our goals. I wanted to touch on that concept very briefly, not to bore you on how neuroplasticity works, but just to tell you that, yes, the brain has the capacity to grow new cells for us, to help us learn new things, to challenge all the limiting beliefs, all the things that are holding us back. Okay? So thank you so much, everyone, for sharing. It's empowering. It's amazing to hear people's experiences. Now, I want us to take a moment, take a deep breath. I was going to share an exercise that, I studied from a financial expert called Carew, and this is to reference her. It's called Your Earnings Ceiling. Very interesting. Very interesting. I want you all to sit back, relax, and just listen. Okay? So join me, move your body, just smile, nothing serious. Yes, life isn't that deep. I want us to answer the questions as I ask them. Let me stop sharing. Let me stop sharing so that you can. Yeah, right. So when I ask the question, what you do is you write the numbers that pop in your mind. And I want you to think in terms of what you're worth. I want you to think in terms of how you see yourself, not really what the market will pay, not really what the industry will pay you. Okay. So the first question is, how much do you want to make in a year? Just write them down. Just think about it. How much do you want to make in a year? When you've written that down, I want you to sit very comfortably, relax your body. If you're driving, don't just listen. You don't have to keep your eyes closed. But if you're sitting down, feel your feet in the ground, or just picture yourself feeling nice and cool, or imagine yourself in a very serene environment, whatever that means to you. And when you're ready, I want you to close your eyes if you can and start to answer the questions. Just pretend like you are in a meditation session, right? So, but what you must know is there's no right and there's no wrong answer. Trust me, I never give exercises that I have never done myself. If you've attended my programs, I usually would show you where I have done the exercises, and I know what it felt and what it was like for me to do this exercise. So yes, for me to bring it up, it's something, right? So I'm going to start from a low figure all the way to a high figure, right? And whatever stands out for you, even if it's more or less, that's okay. Now, I want you to imagine you're earning $5,000 or 8 million naira in a year. I live in Nigeria, so 8 million naira. I want you to think about how you feel, what your thoughts are about it. Don't worry, just keep listening. Imagine you're earning 16 million in a year, $10,000. How do you feel? What are your thoughts? I want you to imagine you're earning 40 million naira in a year. That's $25,000 today. How does that feel to you? And what are your thoughts? Now, I want you to imagine that you're earning 80 million naira in a year, and that's $50,000. How does that feel? What are your thoughts about this? I want you to imagine you're earning 120 million in a year, which is $75,000. How do you feel? How does that make you feel? What are you thinking? Imagine you're earning 160 million naira in a year, and that's $100,000. How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Now, I want you to imagine you're earning $250,000 after tax in a year. Now, that's 400 million naira. How does that make you feel? What are your thoughts? I want you to imagine that you're earning $500,000. Now, that's 800 million naira in a year. Cool. How do you feel? What's going on? Are you still breathing? I want you to imagine you're earning $1 million. Now that's 1.6 billion. in a year. And it could be more. It could be 2 billion. It could be $2 million. How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Anyone cares to share? Anyone cares to share? Anyone cares to share? What did you discover? I want to hear someone else speak. I want to hear someone. What did you discover? Did your throats, did you stop, did your saliva get stuck in your throats? At what point did you feel anything? Someone wants to share?
Hello, P.
Hi, who's speaking?
This is Ibukun.
Oh, hi, Bukun. How are you? Thank you
I'm
so
fine,
much for
thank you.
joining. Oh, awesome, awesome,
Well
awesome. Go
done.
ahead. Were there any surprises for you?
There were no Okay,
Okay,
well, maybe in a way, yes,
tell
because
me.
so before you started mentioning the numbers, you initially said we should imagine how much we would like to earn in a year.
Right.
So um I had thought of about $1 million in a year. So when you
Absolutely.
started with what did you start with? Did you say
8
maybe 8
million.
million? Yeah, you started with 8 million, right? I was like,
Yes.
I don't pass that one. 16 billion. I was like, no, we're not there. And then you kept moving. So and interestingly, so when you now got to around the $1 million, say, hey, now you're talking. And the very interesting part is that even earning that at the moment. So if there's a surprise, that's the surprise, I mean, that's what I find interesting. It's not like I'm earning the $1 million, like, now you're talking. In my mind, in fact, when you were talking about um um I'm not before we got to the 1 million, I was saying, this was like 5 years ago for me. This was like I had grown. So that was what was happening in my own head. But the very interesting part is that I'm still on my way there in actual fact. Do you get it?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing.
Yeah.
Of course. Who else wants to share? Who else wants to share? Very interesting. I want to know if you experienced any limitations, if at any level, how did you feel? Ibukun started to get excited from $1 million. For some of you, it might be 250, 500. For some of you, it might be $3 million. I decided to cap it at $1 million, but it could have been more. So just one more person. Oh, yes, there's someone in the chat says at 1 million, at 120 million naira, which is $75,000, I feel a bit comfortable, but I still think of how I will multiply. Absolutely. One more person. I just want to see how this exercise impacts all of us. One more person, and then we'll move. I want to see one more person either in the chat or you unmute yourself. One more person. How did this exercise, did you experience any tightness, excitement? At what level did you start to get excited about the figures? This is you, because whatever experience that you, whatever ceiling you have experienced tightness, right? That is your level of belief. So it's very critical that it looks like a joke, but it's not a joke. So yes, one more person in the chat and then we'll move. I said I'm in the chat today. I'm not joking. I'm in the chat today and I'm loving the engagement. I'm loving the feedback that I'm getting. It reinforces the learning for a lot of other people here today. So yes, thank you so much. All right. So while you're gathering your thoughts, let me quickly go over what we have next and then start so that you can start to see how much further your beliefs are very important. Okay. So we talked about how the beliefs are from what you see, what you hear, the experiences, but let's bring it home. Let's bring it home. Some of the beliefs that you are holding on to, they might not necessarily have even come from you or from your parents. They may have come from your society, from the culture that we're in, from our economy. There are so many people that have had to adjust their realities because of what's going on in the economy presently, right? Unemployed people will say it's only people that have connections that will get jobs. People that, low income earners will say investing is only for the senior managers or for rich people. Some, different narratives. And these are things that we say in our society that we don't know, but it's reinforcing itself in our brains. You hear people say that there are too many graduates that are unemployed anyway. So since when did education, become so important? It's now becoming irrelevant. Or this one, you can't really make a living expressing yourself. Your side hustle may not be enough. Now that's not true anymore. You can't make a living from, that society belief that you can't make a living if you don't have a 9 to 5, you don't have a white collar job or blue whatever job. You're not a doctor, you're not an accountant, you're not a lawyer, you're not in all those professions. Now that's some people still, you'll be amazed, but some people still hold on to that. So you hear people say it's for people like you. Investing is for people like you. It's not for me. That perception that careers outside of the traditional profession, being a medical doctor, being a this, being a banker, even if you are just 70 and all of that, it's not financially viable. People lose a lot of opportunities just because of that particular type of mindset. People doubt their capacity because of that mindset. So you find that the proportion of people in the creative industry that are thriving compared to those that are not thriving is a mindset gap. Because inside of you, there's a disconnect between you believing that thing you're doing is worthy of you. Your self-esteem is not diminished because of that side hustle, that passion, that creative expression that you have. Those people that have worked on their mindset, that have developed consciousness around it, or that are thriving in it, is because they have worked on themselves, at least to an extent. I remember at one time, I wanted to say this particular story. I remember wanting to have my brows done, and the beautician, I couldn't get a date with the beautician. And I was wondering that, you're not available on Thursday. You're not available on, is it Tuesday and Saturday? So what's going on? I was, and those were the times that I could, that I had available, open in my schedule to be able to quickly have my brows tidied. And then what did she say to me? And this is no disrespect to religion or to anybody of that. Matter of fact, I'm not going to mention, her denomination, her faith. I'm just going to talk about it. And what did she say to me? I can't come on Thursdays because if I come on Thursday, I will miss, what do they call that thing? Worship. They have a name they call it. I will miss it by 6 o'clock. Me, money coach, you have lost me there. I'm like, time is money, time is energy, and money is energy. You're losing, so you're not going to work the whole of Thursday. You're not going to work the whole of Saturday. You're not going to, what's happening? Even the church needs the money to grow. Even the ministry needs funding. How do you not? So I now went through that whole journey of saying to her that, how about you structure your business in a way that allows you work closer to home where the church is? How about you schedule private appointments on those days so that you can finish by 2 and use 4 hours, 2 to 6, to get to your church? So you will not work on Thursdays. You will not, because it's not like you are the pastor, you are the owner. So it's that dissociation from money, seeing money as a material thing, seeing money as being detached from money, that allows or that is causing that sabotage. And it's happening to a lot of people in the creative world, where they have this disconnect between their creative expression and money. So they feel like what they're doing, and if this is you, you feel like what you're doing doesn't need to be charged so much. It's a God-given talent, so you shouldn't really charge for it. So you are up leveling your creativity. You want to just show off your self-expressions. You are enjoying the validation, the recognition, but you're doing it at the expense of your financial stability. So you're not prioritizing investments. You're not prioritizing growth in your financial life. You are not prioritizing that. Rather, what you're doing is just only focusing on the creative expression that you have. How can you balance your creative expression, your passion, whatever that is, whether it is coding, whether it is hairdressing, whether it is freelancing, whether it is consulting, coaching? How do you balance that with practical financial planning? And this is where there's an archetype called the creator artist. Yes, there's a money personality for that. That personality focuses on only a creative expression, focuses on himself and his or her artistic pursuit or how they show up in the world. They don't want to be associated with money. If this is you, what's happening is you are struggling between your God-given talent and making financial progress or having money from it, making money from it. And if you're married, it can bring a lot of tension or if you have a relationship, it can bring a lot of tension to your partners because your husband or your wife will be saying, "But you spend so much time drawing, you spend so much time coding, we're not seeing the money." You are doing it to the detriment of your financial stability, your children's tuition, you're making your wife happy. And that is a personality trait because you don't want to be disconnected from your spirituality because you want to feel authentic. I teach all of these patterns. I open my clients, I open their eyes to how they show up financially, spiritually to the world. I open their eyes to the beliefs that hold them back. It's not only what mommy and daddy says, it's also your energy. It's also the patterns that you've picked up from people around you. Very critical. You project your side hustle. You glorify it, give it so much attention. You like the joy it brings you, but you do it to the detriment of your financial stability. So much so that you are struggling earning money. Your income or your earning pattern is inconsistent. If this is you, something needs to be done. And I can help you. I want you to start to think, as I go on, I want you to think about the behaviors. And this is me just sharing one personality type and how it shows up, right? Earlier, the lady that spoke earlier, the lady from Atlanta that spoke earlier, right? I'm not going to mention her name again, that spoke earlier, talked about impulsivity. This is a trait of a money personality. And if I analyze it for you, you will see how it is showing up, not just in your financial life, but also in other areas of your life. How you make impulsive decisions without thinking things through. You want something, you get it. You're not thinking about the consequences of that thing. Because at that point in time, there's a deprivation, there's an insufficiency that needs to be filled. So I want you to think again, what behaviors and attitude did you observe that is also standing in your way? What ideas, right, are you holding on to or have you picked from your childhood? From the culture, from the society. Is it about hard work? Is it about sacrifice? Whatever it is that the society, because some people say, oh, too much money is not good. There are so many, I'm just not listing them now. Wealthy people, only wealthy people succeed in businesses. Businesses for only rich people. Or, you know, those sorts of things. There are things that are prevalent in the society that we say that is like common knowledge. What have you heard around your environment when it comes to money? When it comes to race, you as an African, or when it comes to you as a woman or as a professional? The other day I saw on Instagram, I saw a post where, you know, the man is well, I'm assuming that he's a millionaire because he said, this is how a millionaire's wife should be. She should be in the back seat, taking care of the children, and her hands are for jewelry, not for washing dishes. I like that kind of luxury. Don't get it wrong. But what about those that don't have access to such luxury? And social media is pushing out that narrative. So that's why I asked that, what behaviors, what attitude have you observed in your environment? What have you observed in your environment that, you know, is showing up for you in terms of money? How is it showing up for you? You've got to start to think about it. You've got to think about your past experiences. People face a lot of financial failures, not because they didn't get enough support, but for many reasons. And so what's happening is they now hold on to that belief that they are bad with money. They now hold on to that belief that, you know, they cannot be trusted with money. Just because you experience rejection, just because of a wrong partnership, just because of criticisms, or just because of the things that you heard your parents say to you, or your caregiver, or your teacher, or somebody you held in high esteem say to you in the past, you are not capable, you are not driven, you are not those things. And then those words now come up at critical moments of your life, critical points where you need to make big decisions. You need to take that leap of faith. You need to, of faith. You need to do, you know, and those things now come up and start to shake you up, right? So you've got to start to think about the behaviors, the attitudes. It's not enough to just look at just your childhood dynamics. Start to see how the society, the culture, is playing a role in shaping the beliefs, the messages, the narratives, the scripts that you are holding on to, how it is reinforcing them and making them stronger inside your life. I remember speaking to a lady, you know, I've spoken to several women because a lot of women come up to my programs, private coaching and all of that. So I remember speaking to a lady, you know, at the early stages of her business. You know, we just got a young lady, we got talking. And I emphasize young lady, so you know that she probably hasn't been in business any much longer than 5 years, right? Or maybe 3 years. Probably started business during COVID, which is barely about 4 years or 5 years now, right? And she said she needed to go back to she needed a 9 to 5, as she doesn't believe that she can thrive in the business. You know, she said that that's the only way she feels that she can make the most money. Now, isn't that beliefs that is showing up? Isn't that rooted in some narrative she may have heard, or some person, some auntie, some friend, or some person that she may have seen that, okay, is thriving in the professional world? And so what's happening now is she's thinking that her business that she's put so much time and effort in cannot succeed, cannot thrive, because she's not in the professional world and the business is not cut off for her. Now, if the business is not cut off for her, that's a different thing. But it's the belief I want you to see here. So when I asked her, where did you get that from? I started to ask her questions, right? I said, is that an excuse you're giving yourself not to direct energy and focus to your business, to give it the energy it demands? Is that an excuse? Are you deflecting from focusing on business operations, re-strategizing, finding ways to expand your business? Are you shying away from seeking support? What are you holding on to? And that's why I'm asking you again, what beliefs and attitudes, right, is standing in your way that you need to pay attention to? There are several biases. You know, if you look at a lot of financial literacy books, you know, especially the ones that talk on behavioral finance, they talk about cognitive biases. They say that cognitive bias is where, that tendency to seek out information that confirms your past belief in yourself, information that ignores, that dismisses the correct information that contradicts it. So what that means in essence is you believe that you can't save money because you failed to save money, because you failed, because one medical emergency took the money, because you succumbed to the pressure of your family member or your brother or your friend asking for the money and you lost the money. But you forgot the times that you were conscious and you kept to your savings plan and you were able to accumulate that money. That is what that confirmation bias is. It reinforces the belief and hinders your own capacity to develop better savings habits. So you keep finding excuses to sabotage yourself. There's also negativity bias that focuses on negative experiences. Remember, I talked about negative self-talk earlier. So you just want to keep dwelling in how things are not functioning, how mistakes have been made, how opportunities have been lost, how it cannot happen. And what does this lead to for you? It leads to stress and anxiety. When you are stressed and you are anxious, you don't make decisions that are empowering. Stress, anxiety leads you to fear. You start to do what they call the fight, freeze response to everything. And there's a fourth one now. You start to fawn around your finances. You experience reduced motivation. You don't have that desire, that urge to want to chase at anything. Nothing to propel you. So you avoid setting ambitious goals. And when you do all of that, what happens to your self-esteem? It diminishes. Your capacity to earn your worth diminishes. You under-earn, you undercharge, you avoid opportunities. You are no longer in control. So I want you to take a moment to ask yourself, what have I been thinking that has created my life the way it is now? Can someone put this in the chat for me? What have I been thinking that has created my life the way that it is now? Maybe I should use this. What are the beliefs that I am holding on to that are not serving me anymore? What are the beliefs? Can someone put that in the chat for me? What have I been thinking that has created my life the way that it is now? Anyone cares to share? What beliefs am I holding? You have to identify one belief. You have to if you're not sure, you have to think about one narrative, one thing that you are holding on to. Very important, because you don't know that fear of failure that you are experiencing. You don't know that that's avoiding opportunity. That's you thinking investing is not for you. That's you not wanting to explore different financial opportunities. I remember speaking to a lady just yesterday, a family member, and she had initially asked me for investments and all of that. And I sent her one investment product. I said, go and read up on it. 3 weeks now, she hasn't read up on it because there's just something inside of her that is not on board with, going into investment. And she's not even aware to notice. So investment for her is just business. It's just business. And how can you diversify if you're not thinking about different investment products? How can you diversify? How can you create multiple streams of income? Some people say they want passive income. How do you get passive income if you don't have investments that can generate the passive income for you? So I ask again, what are those beliefs that you're holding on to that are not serving you anymore? What are those beliefs? Because those beliefs are what might be making you underestimate your capacity. That inertia to go out and network, that inertia to attend industry events, seminars, mentorship opportunities, that thing, what they call imposter syndrome. That's it, right? So you then find yourself overthinking things a lot. You find yourself overanalyzing. Come and do something. There's this latent fear and doubt inside of you, but it manifests as overthinking. So you then think to a point of paralysis. You are too overwhelmed, or actually not overwhelmed. You are already too weak to even take action by the time you're done with the analysis. You have missed the deadline to even get the work done before you wake up from your snoozing and your analysis paralysis. I ask again, what beliefs are you holding on to that might not be serving you or moving you in the direction of your financial future, your financial growth, your financial stability? Is it that avoidance to budget? Maybe you think budgeting is too complicated, or maybe you can't even track your expenses. What is that one thing that you're holding on to? If you want, you can put in the chat for me. Otherwise, you can unmute yourself and then share to me. What is that one belief that you're holding on to that is stopping you or standing in your way from experiencing that promotion, from going into that relationship, from doing the things that bring you the most joy, from living intentionally and purposefully, from that is stopping you from experiencing release, from experiencing peace, calm, serenity, love? You see, these beliefs I'm talking about, this narrative, these stories, these things, it's not only our money. If we deal with only money and we leave the other things spending, then we're not aligned. If we're not aligned, we don't experience ease, peace, joy, harmony. We don't. So what are those beliefs that you're holding on to? Because I want you to move from that space of inertia. I want you to move from that space of relying on people to do things for you because you are out of depth, because you are out of knowledge. I want you to move from avoiding to, that's avoidance that comes with dealing with financial matters. That's a very big factor. I want you to move from depending on someone to do the things that you can do for yourself. Because when they do it for you, it can get to a point where you start to feel insecure and dependent. And people don't want people that are excessively dependent on them, because it means that they have no control over their lives. So you and when you lack control, what do? You start to blame other people for the results in your life. You start to blame the economy, blame external factors for what you are experiencing. You start to, and when you do all of this, it prevents you from taking intentional steps to improve your life, to improve that circumstance, to improve that situation, to improve that relationship, to become intentional, to not be oblivious of things going on around you. Very critical. You must identify it. What is that script? What is that narrative? What is that belief that you are holding on to? Remember, I said that beliefs are passed down. Families remain in cycles of poverty because there are beliefs that they have hovering in their collective unconsciousness that poverty reigns in their family, that they are not meant to. There are families that don't believe that they are meant to be wealthy. So they don't encourage anything that will make them go towards increased wealth. So, and what then happens is it limits all the generations after them. It limits opportunities for them. They experience missed opportunities. Yes, you find families where there are mental health issues because of things that they are holding on to. The children know that those things don't serve them anymore, but they can't change it. So they're experiencing stress. They're experiencing depression. My question to you is, what are those beliefs? How are they serving you? How are they impacting your emotions? Are they causing you to blame other people for your financial situation? Are they causing you to put other people's needs first because you have to feel because giving is very important? Because if you don't give, you will not make heaven. What beliefs are you holding on to? Is it one of impulsivity? Is it one of risk, avoiding risk or taking on risk without thinking of the long-term consequences? Is it causing your relationships to get strained? Is it making other people not have trust for you? Anybody would like to, let me look in the chat. Thank you. What are the beliefs I'm holding on to that are not serving me anymore? What are those beliefs that are keeping you stuck? Some of us are stuck, but we don't even know it. You feel stuck. And let me talk about feeling stuck, right? You feel stuck because you are, like I said earlier, you are focusing in the past. You are focusing on events in the past and events in the future. So you are stuck between two realms you have little or very minimal control over. Remember, I said that it's only in the present that we can take action. It's only in the present that we can correct things. We can interrupt things. We can rewire our brains. We can change. We can learn new things. We can become financially empowered and literate. It's only in the present. So you are stuck. Why are you stuck? Is it because of perfectionism? Is it because things have to be done in a certain way? Or are you pretending not to know something about yourself that needs to either change, stop? Why are you stuck? You're trapped in your own beliefs. You are trapped in your own mindset because you believe that things should be done in a certain way, or because that helps you control a situation. What would you like to change for yourself? How would you like to change those beliefs? If I need to see, someone needs to speak or share for us to move to either reframing so I can tell you how you can reframe any of those things. But otherwise, I will keep asking, what are those beliefs? Because at the end of the day, it is becoming aware, it's becoming conscious of how these beliefs are showing up for you, how they're impacting you. Very, very critical. Very critical. Does anyone want to share? Does anyone want to say how those beliefs are impacting them? Anyone cares to share what beliefs you're holding on to? Try to move to the next slide. Okay. What beliefs are you holding on to that is not serving you or that is serving you? Because limiting beliefs can look like a good idea. Like I said, the unconscious mind wants to keep you safe. But if you find that you are feeling anxious, if you find that you're feeling uncertain, stressed out around your life, it's a sign that those beliefs are no longer serving you. So how do you not let self-imposed beliefs that have been passed by your environment, your society, your psychology, your past experiences, your childhood, what you've heard, what you've seen, what you've experienced, how do you not let them hold you back? Many of these things is what I will be teaching, and I've taught this severally. I've taught this in masterclasses. I've taught this on Clubhouse. I've taught this severally, but now I'm teaching the masterclass, right? Where I will be hand-holding you to see how your money behaviors, how your money mindset, how your psychology of money impacts your financial reality and ultimately your financial future. Let me show you how you can learn new tools and strategies that will change the way you think, the way you feel, and the way you act regarding money. Let me show you why you are the way that you are with money. What essentially is my goal at the end of it all is to help you develop new levels of awareness. If you can't see it, if you can't identify it, you cannot name it. If you cannot name it, you cannot change it. I invite you to come with me. Come and sit with me. Let us talk about our relationship with money. Let us understand how our money personalities show up for us. Let us see how it is serving us. Let us understand our patterns, our emotions, our beliefs, our language, the things that we have. Many people are not aware as to their psychology around money. Many people are not aware as to how to communicate effectively with their partners or in their relationships about money. Many people are in very strained relationship because of money. And so what's happened, and this is because of how we have been conditioned to project on money. So much of who we are now is now rooted in how we see money, what we do around money. And we must become conscious. We must be willing to start to release that power. You think it's because you're not earning enough. But if I ask you, what is the concept of enough? What is the definition of enough? What is the gauge of enoughness in your life? Can you answer it? How much money do you really think will be enough? And will that equate to wealth and abundance in your life? Michelle, I want you to put the link to the upcoming webinar on the 20th of March in the chat so that people have the discernment, the decision, the choice to choose if they want to learn more. I encourage you to take actions, to join me. And that's why, I thought to myself, what is the best way to impact? That's why I'm holding the Mind Over Money series. I held one in January. We had one in January. We had people attend. We had people go back. Those who couldn't attend, we had them go back to YouTube to go and catch the replay as well, right? Because I want more awareness. I want more sensitization, increased consciousness to our relationship with money beyond budgeting, beyond learning how to save. Because you can save so much to a point where you start to experience joylessness, unhappiness. So you have to start to learn balance, which is why I want to show you what you are like around money. I want to show you the way your patterns, all of these limiting patterns and behaviors are showing up and how you can course correct them. I want to show you how to move from what you're doing now to what you could be doing later. So I'll leave the floor open for questions, but the link to join us is in the chat. The link to join us on the 20th of March is in the chat for you to come and see how your money archetype shows up for you. Because the power to change your financial destiny is in your hands. Many of you may have taken the program in the past, but like I would always say, and like I always do, when you have access to the quiz tells you where you are at this point in time and the prevailing pattern that is showing up for you. It shows you what you need to do. It reveals to you how you are showing up in the world. So for you to change what is going on, or for you to make better decisions, or for you to alter anything, you've got to know how you're showing up. You've got to know the behaviors that you are exhibiting. So yes, you will not just have access to the quiz. You will have access to me. You will join my community. You will have access to a workbook, a money mindset workbook, where I will break down this process of limiting beliefs. You will assess your beliefs effectively. And for those of you that will be joining today, you will have access to a workbook. So I have told my team that today we'll be offering a 30% slash off the original price of the webinar. The webinar itself is about 55,000 naira, Nigerian naira, but today you'll be paying 38,500. Now this offer is open. I don't want you to rush. I don't want you to do what you're not sure about. I want you to research. I want you to read about it. I want you to listen to other programs, other resources that I have done, and choose if you want to be a part of this. And should you wish, I've kept the window open for you for a few days for 3 days for you to access it and get access to the workbook. So I have a specific workbook that can help you uncover and overcome your own self-limiting beliefs. So you would answer questions like what your limiting beliefs are, how you relate with those limiting beliefs, how you can overcome them, the support you need, what you need to do, what you need to stop doing. But this resource is only accessible to those who take a decision or who take action on this offer that I'm making within the next 3 days. Otherwise, you will still have access to the workbook that comes with showing up. So I look forward to having you join me on the 20th of March at 6 p.m. Same place, where we will then discuss why you are the way you are with money. Okay? So if you have any questions you want to share, if I don't see any belief or narrative or stories or disempowering beliefs come up, then we can't practice any of the modalities that I have to show you. So if you have questions for me, I would like to see it in the chat, or you can unmute yourself. But before you do that, I want you to put in the chat for me how this session has been for you. How has this session been for you? What is the highlight of this session for you? What are you taking with you from this session? For those of you that have sat through, what are you taking with you? And what are you giving me for this session? How has this session been for you? If you have no questions, I want to know how this session has been for you. I want to thank everyone for joining. How has this session been for you? You can put in the chat. How has it been? I'm looking at the chat. Thank you, Michelle, for putting up the link. The link to join the webinar is also in the chat. Let me see if I can, yeah. How has this session been for you? What can you identify as, the limiting belief that is holding you back? Perhaps you want to go back later and start to reflect on the things that we've shared. Perhaps you want to come back to Carew and say, okay, I've identified it. How can we reframe it? How can we, thank you so much. The session has been enlightening and expository and reflective. Awesome, awesome. You guys should put your feedback for me. Oh, don't leave me. Don't leave me. How has this session been for you? What did you take out? What was the most transformative part of this session for you? Or what would you do next? Or what would you stop doing? Okay. Send an email to Coach Patience at info. So if you want more questions as to how I can work with you or we can work together in terms of private coaching or maybe attend any of my programs, yes, by all means, you can email me or you can reach out to me on my social media handles. Instagram is at Carew, which is PEECAREW. I think my VA is going to put that in the chat. Or you can reach out to me on LinkedIn with my full name as Patience Carew. The link to this webinar, the YouTube link, we're streaming live. It will be on YouTube, so you can easily share the link with your friends, or you can go back, and then there will be questions. So by all means, DM me, email me questions. My email is info@patiencecarew.com. How has this session been for you, or do you have any questions? So you can unmute yourself and share if you have any questions. Ifoma, thank you for joining. Let me call out those of you that are sitting down. Mayowa, you are here. Thank you for joining. Opara, Ruben, Rosemary, those of you. I don't know what's going on with the link, but I did receive messages that some people were struggling to join in. So we're going to send everyone the YouTube link so that they can go back and catch the replay. I don't know if it's the access link or if it has to do with the mailing, but we're going to send everyone the replay. Rosemary says, this session has been so transformative for me, and the take home for me is, if you cannot identify it, you cannot name it. And if you cannot name it, you cannot change it. Absolutely, absolutely. That is it. That is it. If you don't know what's wrong with you, if you don't do the diagnosis, and that's the thing with money coaching, right? It's a diagnostic process. It's not a clinical one, no. Just a diagnostic process where we're able to then discern the potholes. Now, those potholes are the behaviors that you are manifesting that is standing between you and the purposeful life that you want to live, right? Any more feedback, questions? I want to know. Please put in the chat for me or unmute yourself and let me know. You guys have come to this webinar and you have listened to me talk. Now you don't want to give me feedback. Ain't no way you're going. Feedback as we bring this to. Don't forget, you have 3 days to decide if you want to join the webinar. You can take advantage of the 30% discount. This is from March. The month of March is the International Women's Day month. So yes, this is also how I also contribute. The webinar could have cost more. The masterclass could have cost more. But if it's affordable, then many people get more empowered, right? So yes, but if you feel like, oh, you don't want to attend the webinar, you want to have private coaching, by all means, I have resources for that. Peju says that it has been an insightful session. You have opened my mind to identify the mindsets that are holding me back from my financial goals. Thank you so much, madam. I appreciate you. Thank you for joining. Who else wants to drop a feedback? Who else wants to drop a, how has this session been for you? What was the most transformative part for you? What was enlightening for you? What awareness did you get from today's session with P. Carew? Or what feedback do you want to give? I want you to also drop an emoji for me saying, yes, Patience, I feel you, yes. So do that. Except, of course, I've been talking to myself. Don't forget that you can also join me on the 20th of March to understand how your relationships are being impacted, to increase your earning potential if you want to know how you give, how you spend, what triggers your giving and your spending. If you want to start to feel more confident around who you are, then yes, you've got to join me on the 20th of March. You don't want to miss it. I teach that program every year, whether there's a free webinar or not. The Know Your Money archetype, which is also Know Your Money personality, is a critical journey towards becoming more intentional. It will help you move towards making better money decisions so that you can live prosperously. You can live with intentions. Okay? So any feedback for me as we bring this to a quick wrap and a quick close? Thank you so much. Nobody's dropping an emoji. I see nobody should DM me. I want to see your feedback or your emojis here. And thank you so much, everyone, for joining today. It has been my pleasure and my purpose to do this, to teach on what I love the most, money mindset coaching. My name is Patience Carew. I'm a US certified money coach, and I'm happy to teach on this. Thank you so much, everyone. God bless you. And I look forward to seeing you on the 20th of March, 2025 at 6 p.m. Let us come and see, come and hear, and come and feel our money energy, our money themes, how we are showing up in the world as it relates to money. Thank you very much, everyone. I appreciate you. Thank you, Tosan. Why is your thank you coming late? Tosan, you should be the first person to say thank you. Thank you. All of you that are withholding your thank you, do you have issues with giving? Let's stop the live streaming before we start harassing people. Let me stop the